Croeso I Just a Talking. Welcome to Just a Ticket, the Transport for Wales podcast. I'm really excited today to be joined by Marie Daly. Welcome to the pod, Marie.
Thank you for having me, James.
No problem. And Marie, you've got three job titles I want to talk about. Your current one is Chief Customer and Culture Officer, TFW. Yeah. The new role you're going to go into is Chief Operating Officer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for the last 18 months, you've also been Chair of Women in Rail.
I have.
First of all, Marie, just tell us a little bit about your current role.
So my current role as customer and culture is looking after all things customer. So our customer strategy, from our developing our customer propositions to our marketing plans, and then to seeing them come to life in our stations environment, seeing what our colleagues do in terms of what that looks like for customers day in, day out. And then from a culture perspective, it's everything you would expect from the people function, really making sure that we are delivering for our colleagues, for them to be able to deliver for our customers. And over the last 18 months, my key focus has been developing the T-Network programme, which is both a programme that looks at how we deliver an integrated multimodal customer proposition, and also how we develop our T-Network culture programme, which, as I say, is to bring our colleagues on the journey to deliver our mission of one network, one timetable, one ticket through one team.
And culture is really important in an organisation. And it's not just about your staff, it's about for us, the customers, so they're very well interlinked.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're doing a lot around our culture at the minute and understanding what our current culture is, and getting a sense of that, and looking at a long-term plan around what culture looks like over a series of years to make sure that we're embedding what it is we want to do to be able to achieve our mission statement.
And as you move into your new role as operating officer, what will you take from your current role, and how will it impact the way you do your new job?
So I think the key for me is staying focused on the customer. So the customer is at the heart of everything that we do, and from operational performance, making sure that we're delivering for the customer, for what the customer needs, making sure our timetable delivers for what the customer needs. And as I've said, really making sure whatever we do for the customer aligns to what we do for our colleagues, and bringing those two things together, I think is really important to make sure that we don't have a say-do gap from what we're intending to do for our customers and then what our colleagues are delivering day in, day out.
I suppose there's the two things really. There's the customer focus, and then there's the colleague and staff focus. And when you get into the new job, what will be your top priorities?
So I think the first will be delivering excellent service every day, wrapping the whole organisation around what that means and looks like. So for me, people often hear me say, when customers buy a ticket, they buy the promise of our timetable. So delivering that timetable day in, day out, and us all understanding what that looks like and what that takes is really important. So I want to wrap the whole organisation around service excellence every day, and look at what needs to be true for us to deliver 100% railway. And that's something that's right up there for me. And I think we've got an amazing opportunity with the investment that we've delivered in our fleet, £800 million in new fleet. We're seeing 50% of journeys on that new fleet.
On brand new trains, yeah.
Yeah, on our new trains. And 75% of journeys on our new trains, 50% of that fleet being rolled out. The opportunity is there now to really deliver on that transformation investment for the people and for our customers.
So if you buy a ticket with TFW, you're going to know what level of service you're going to get, what to expect.
Yeah, and that should be consistent. That should be the base customer experience that you get, and then everything else we can add to that. But actually making sure that, the service that you bought a ticket for is there, it's there on time, and it's there reliably.
And second priority?
So for me, it's I get really excited. I talked to you about the T-Network, our mission statement about us really driving forward an integrated multimodal organisation around one network, one ticket, one timetable, one team. And for me, the role of COO is absolutely about delivering our biggest product today, which is rail. But for stakeholders to really believe in us, then we need to make sure that we're delivering that consistently, obviously. But actually, for us to be able to deliver one network, it's about bringing teams together to ensure that we are building the future for everybody inside TFW, taking those voices and really delivering on the expectations we've set. And one of those really good examples of that is a £1 billion investment in our new metro. It needs to be a world-class service. It is about integrated travel. That's the promise that we've made. So for our customers and for our colleagues, it is now looking at how do we deliver on that promise and, deliver on the investment that we've had.
And that involves becoming multimodal in the future as well.
Absolutely. So bus franchising bill is next year. We're really excited. It's been a long time for TfW. We've been in the background doing plans, working with local authorities, CJCs, and really understanding what it will mean to deliver T-Network, which is a network that belongs to everyone. And customers, colleagues, local authorities, all stakeholders, Welsh Government. And when you see that T-Network that people know they can trust in the service they're going to get, and that service might be run by TfW, it might be run by other parts of organisations. But what we'll do is we will make sure that from a customer perspective, it's a seamless experience.
And just for those who don't know what the T-Network is, it's the long-term vision for Transport for Wales to create a network across Wales and the borders that involves all modes of travel.
Absolutely. And it belongs to everyone, which I think is important. It's not an organisation. It transcends an organisation. It's a network people can trust in.
And what was your last one? You said you had 3 priorities.
I absolutely do. So I'm really, really passionate about this one. It is around colleague voice and making sure that we have the customer voice in terms of feedback we get from customers, but from colleagues who are out doing the job day in, day out, listening to our customers, making sure that we're feeding that back in and delivering on what they need to be able to do their role. And our new values under the T-Network Culture Change Programme, it is really important that those values, we bring those to life. And I'm held accountable for those in my new role. So our values are, we are one team, we do the right thing, and we challenge ourselves. And I think that's why I really want to spend some time talking to colleagues, being out on the network and understanding how I can help bring those values to life every single day for each part of the business.
We're in the process of launching them values internally at the moment.
Yeah. A really exciting time. And in fact, one of the first things I've done is a video as part of the wider rollout to describe what those values mean to me, mean to my senior leadership team. And the one thing I'm really, really keen to do is maybe do some reverse mentoring. So somebody in the organisation who would mentor me, I think that could be really powerful. And also to make sure that I'm giving permission to people to hold me to account if they're seeing that me or the leadership team are not delivering on the values.
Yeah, and James Price, our CEO, has been out over the last few months on the network doing jobs with some of the staff who run the operational jobs.
Yeah, the back to the floors have been really powerful. So lots of people, when I speak to the teams, they've absolutely loved the time with James. He's gone, he's just been part of the team. In fact, sometimes he's done it and they've not quite realised who he is. So they've been really authentic and honest. And, that I think that is really, really powerful in being able to elevate the colleague voice, but from a perspective of a greater understanding of what the role looks like, because the operational roles in this business are absolutely more complicated than people think. So I'm about people going out, understanding what that looks like and making sure that any decisions were made can be made with that insight in mind.
Well, it sounds like you've got a big job ahead, Marie, but you're excited to get stuck into it.
I'm very excited, as you can tell, yes.
Yeah. The third role that I wanted to chat about is the one you've been doing for the last 18 months as chair of Women in Rail.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what job, what that is, what role that is, and what it involves.
Yeah, so 18 months ago, I became the chair of Women in Rail, and that was really part of my own development and what I wanted to do. And a key motivator was to be able to give back to an industry that's looked after me through a very complicated life journey and being a single mum. I was really lucky to have organisations and managers who supported me and made it possible for me to get where I am today. And what I wanted to do was to make sure that actually the luck I had wasn't just luck, and that everybody could experience that. And they were experiencing that through creating proper strategic plans across our industry with policies that support people staying in the industry at most difficult times, and particularly from a women's perspective. Everything we know about women's health today, be it menopause, be it the issues you face during pregnancy. It's really, really important that organisations have proper plans and processes so that everybody can be supported. So Women in Rail, very excited about the work we've done. We're just about to launch our business plan.
Yeah.
And we've got a new mission statement, which is to be unapologetic in our pursuit of gender equity. And that really sits at the heart of sort of a lot of what I believe in.
Yeah. And there's 8,500 members involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So 8,500 members. And for me, I suppose the biggest opportunity we've got is to bring those collective voices of that membership into the sort of leadership of the industry and make sure that we're developing plans and that voice is truly heard. We've got 17.4% representation across the industry, and an industry is about 60,000 employees. Well, for some women, they're in organisations that have a very small number of women. So actually the work we do with regional leaders groups for people to come and get engaged, it enables members to come together and really have a voice, and then we can gather that collective voice and make sure that what we're doing and the strategies we've got in place deliver for what they need.
Because the transport industry is still male dominated, and stereotypically some of the roles are male roles, but it's about opening up opportunities for women who want to join.
Yeah, I mean, 17.4%, pretty woeful, isn't it, as a statistic in terms of, and that's from the NSAR survey that was done last year. Now that was up just under 1% from the year before. And, but we've got a long, long way to go to see the dial shift on that. And I think, we're focused on that and we'll remain focused on it. But I think it's not going to be an easy
job,
thing, not for sure, yeah.
And what would your message be to a young woman who's thinking about starting their career in the rail industry, or someone who's at a different part of their career and they're thinking about joining? What would you say to them?
So I would definitely encourage everybody to start a career in rail. And I'm quite passionate about us being able to sell what it looks like to work in rail. I think we need to be open and honest that, the rail industry is not the same everywhere you go. So there will be some challenges, but I think the intention of the industry at a very strategic level is to really look at what we're doing to make sure the environments are places where people can thrive more than survive. And that's where we've been in the past, and to call out. So I think that's really, really important that as an industry, I am seeing more and more the work that's happening is to call out the real issues for everybody who, from whatever your difference may be, is that we're having those honest conversations. But absolutely, I've loved my time in rail. And I think I can say that because I've started my career in rail, then I've gone into other industries and I've come back and I've gone into other industries. If you love the customer and you want to be close to the customer and you want to make a difference, if you love what transport can do to connect people to fun, to connect it to health, to connect it to, family, then, it is the place to be.
And I think it's nice you said that, to create an environment where someone can thrive as opposed to survive. And it was International Women's Day at the start of this month. I know we did an internal campaign at TFW where women could share a photo of themselves and a message what they'd give to their younger self. What message did you give to your younger self, or would you give to your younger self?
Yeah, it was a really enlightening experience for me. And as I looked at younger Marie, I probably thought, bless her. My sort of feedback was chill out. Life's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think just really looking back and thinking, you wish you could go back and give yourself a massive hug and say that it'll be okay. There'll be challenges along the road, but you'll meet lots of amazing people and you're going to have an amazing journey. And the resilience that you were born with is going to do you well throughout your life. And just live in the moment.
And I think what I found was nice with the campaign, there was lots of people being really sort of authentic, open, and showing levels of vulnerability in leadership roles as well. We've recently published our gender pay gap figures at TFW, which show the difference between what men and women earn on average in the organisation. Can we explain a little bit about what they're about and what they currently show?
Yeah, and I think that's a really important place to start, which is to explain a bit about the gender pay gap. So gender pay is the difference between what men and women earn on an average in an organisation. What it's not is about what women are paid less than men. So I think that's just really important for the same job. That's about equal pay. So if we look at the two measures that you normally see in the gender equity pay results, you see the mean, which is the average of men's salaries compared to women's, but the main focus is around the median. So to get to that, what does that mean? So you take all the men in the organization and you get the middle point of their salaries, and then you get all the women in the organization and you get the middle point of their salaries.
Yeah.
And then to get to the percentage, you do a differential, which means that you take away the women's average to the men's average, and you times that by 100%.
Yeah.
So I think that just sort of gives an explanation around what it is. In TFW, we've got a bit of a complicated position because we have two entities legally we need to report on. So what was TFW Group, or Authority as we call it, and TFW Rail. So we've got different results. And actually, we've seen positive results in both of those reports this year. But where we've seen challenges, and we're absolutely up for being held to account on those challenges, is around when you combine the two organisations together as one TFW, you have got 25% of colleagues who are women. Compared to 75%. A lot of the roles that are paid higher are from traditionally male roles like conductors and drivers. So that doesn't help the median. We have seen real progress in terms of attracting to frontline roles, but there's absolutely more to do. And, as I said earlier, I was challenged. I was telling somebody I was doing this podcast today on the way up, and I said what it was about. And they were like, please call out. We need to do more around positive action.
Yeah.
We just need to do more. And yes, we're in an industry that is male dominated, but we need to focus on what's going to shift the dial for TFW, and we're totally focused on that.
And that is, I think it's worth pointing out, them figures do fluctuate year on year because of different people moving roles and who's been coming and going in the organisation as well.
Yeah, and we were just having a really good conversation with our trade union partners today around actually we want to get to a place where we're measuring those figures on a monthly basis, so we can really see the plans that we've got in place, if they're moving the dial, and then we can look to adapt them, or we can and we're pulling from lots of different places around how do we learn from best practice and how do we really hold ourselves to account in this space, because we want to do better and we want to be the best.
So I suppose that my next question would be then, what are we doing at TFW, and from your role in Women in Rail, what you're trying to influence in the industry as a whole to make it a better place and to fluctuate them figures so they're more positive for women?
So I talked earlier about the Women in Rail business plan, and there's 4 pillars to the business plan. So I'll probably give you my answer under those 4 pillars, which is around how we make sure we attract and then we support and engage colleagues when they're in the business, and how we retain women within the industry so they can absolutely thrive instead of just surviving in the industry. So in TFW, in terms of attracting, we've done a lot of work around our strategic equality plan. So it's having a clear strategic framework to take us forward to where we want to be. And some of that is long term, but some of them are around quick wins and what we can do now. So our early talent program is really focused on that gender equity and on that diversity. And we ran our first apprenticeship cohort were all female this year. Really proud of that. Our intake for our graduates last year was 55% women. For our apprentices, it was 52% women. And for our interns, it was 80% women. So
that's about getting more women into the industry at a sort of entry level as well.
So I think that is about attracting people, and we use role models, and there's lots of things we can do. But one of the things that we've been looking at is our recruitment practices, because actually what we found is there's lots of barriers in our recruitment practices, and and we've done a lot of reviews, but we're using lots of community groups and looking at benchmarking to how we remove those barriers to make it easy for people from all backgrounds to be able to sort of complete an application form to get through the first stage of TFW. So that's important as well. And then in terms of support, I'm really, really passionate about the work we've done around our leadership program. Leading with, but we're also working with Women in Rail, Women in Transport about our mentoring and making sure that we're seeing women get onto leadership courses, because we know a lot of time women don't push themselves forward. So we're measuring that as a key indicator, and then we're looking to see how we can make sure we attract more women onto that. And then in terms of supporting women, I think the stuff that we're doing on menopause is I think it's really, really leading the way, and our partners are the ones who are telling us that. And I think the one thing, if I just share a bit of a story, which is we've seen lots of people go through our programs, but we asked our trade union partners, and it ended up being an all-male cohort that went through the program. And for me, the feedback's just been phenomenal about what they've taken away from a session that they didn't naturally want to attend. And some of that has been amazing for us as an organisation, because we've now got allies for both their members, female members, but also for people they work with, to make an environment that's, we better understand the issues and we're more open about it. But I think the most powerful stories have been how it's impacted their personal lives. And I think that for me just sums up what it's like to work at TFW, that it is way more than transport. It is about what we do for our people, our communities and our customers.
And that comes back to the cultural piece again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Marie, it's been absolutely great to have you on. We've talked about all your different roles. Wish you all the best going into your role as Chief Operating Officer. And keep up all the great work you're doing in Women in Rail, and keep us updated. And I'm sure we can have a chat again in the future about it.
Brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure, Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr.